Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a true classic, a book that's been changing lives since 1937, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Now, this book makes a massive claim. It says there's a single, powerful secret to success, a formula that some of history's most successful people used to build their empires from, well, nothing more than a thought.
So, to figure this out, we're going to follow the breadcrumbs Hill left for us. We'll start with the big promise he makes, then dig into the power of desire, a really practical 6-step formula, the hidden power of your own mind, why you need persistence and allies, and finally, how to conquer those inner demons we all deal with.
The whole book is built around this incredible hook. You see, Napoleon Hill was challenged by the steel magnate Andrew Carnegie to spend more than 20 years studying the most successful people in America, all to find and share a single formula for achievement. But here's the kicker. Hill never just comes out and says, "Here's the secret." Instead, he weaves it into every single chapter, claiming it appears over and over again, just waiting for the person who's ready to see it. He even says that if you're truly ready, you probably already have part of the secret. So that's the big mystery, right? One single idea that supposedly gave over 500 of the wealthiest people of that era the power to turn their thoughts into cold, hard cash. The question for us is, can we actually piece it together from all the clues he gives us? And the list of people Hill says used this secret is just staggering. It's not just the business titans like Henry Ford and John D. Rockefeller. We're talking about world-changing inventors like Thomas Edison and Alexander Graham Bell, and even U.S. presidents. To Hill, this was the ultimate proof that this principle worked for anyone, anywhere. Okay, so the very first major clue to the secret is this. Every great achievement, every fortune ever earned, it all starts with a burning desire. And I mean, not a wish, not just a hope, but a white-hot, all-consuming desire for something definite. Hill draws a really sharp line in the sand here. Wishing is passive, right? You might wish you had more money, but a burning desire? He says that's a complete obsession. It's a mindset where you've basically burned all the bridges behind you. There is no retreat. You either win or you perish. Hill's go-to example for this is the incredible story of a guy named Edwin C. Barnes. Now, Barnes had one single, overwhelming goal in life, to become the business associate of the great Thomas Edison. And notice that wording. He didn't want to work for Edison, he wanted to work with him. So picture this. Barnes shows up looking like a tramp, literally penniless after riding a freight train. But in his mind, he was already Edison's partner. For 5 long years, he took any menial job he could get at Edison's plant just to be close, all while keeping that goal burning bright. And then, opportunity knocked. But it was disguised as a new dictating machine that none of the regular salesmen wanted to touch. Barnes saw his chance. He knew he could sell it. And he did, big time. He proved that a definite purpose, backed by a desire that just won't quit, can actually bend reality to its will. So, desire is the fire, but you need an engine to actually go somewhere, and Hill gives us a surprisingly specific 6-step method to turn that intangible feeling of desire into actual tangible results. And this is that engine. Notice all the powerful words here. Exact amount, exactly what you'll give. Definite date, definite plan. This is not fuzzy, I hope kind of stuff. Steps 1 through 5 are all about creating a super clear blueprint. But step 6, that's where the magic really happens. By reading it aloud every day, you're literally programming your subconscious mind to accept this goal as if it's already real, unleashing its power to show you the way. So why does that 6-step formula work? Well, it's because it's specifically designed to hijack the most powerful tool you have, your subconscious mind. Here's the core idea, and it's a big one. Your mind is like fertile ground. It doesn't care what you plant. It'll grow seeds of success just as easily as it'll grow seeds of failure. Whatever thoughts you let dominate your mind will eventually become your physical reality. The specific technique for planting these seeds is something Hill calls autosuggestion. You can think of it as the direct line of communication between your conscious mind and your subconscious. When you're doing step 6, reading your statement aloud every single day, you're using autosuggestion to give your subconscious direct orders. By repeating this process, you develop what Hill calls faith. Now, this isn't a religious thing. For Hill, faith is a state of mind that you create. It's when you've so completely convinced your subconscious that your goal is inevitable that it starts acting as if it's already a done deal.
But look, having desire and faith is a great start, but they won't get you through the tough times without two more crucial ingredients: persistence and a little help from your friends. This is where the mastermind comes in.
Hill tells this unforgettable story about a man named R.U. Darby. His uncle gave up digging for gold just 3 feet away from a massive vein. 3 feet! Darby learned a huge lesson from that failure. Temporary defeat is not the same as permanent failure. He took that lesson and applied it to selling insurance and became one of the very few who sold over $1 million a year simply because he refused to quit.
This lack of persistence is one of the biggest reasons people fail. Hill even gives us this checklist of symptoms. Procrastination, indecisiveness, making excuses. And if you really look at them, most of them boil down to a fear of what other people will think or a fear of failure. That fear can totally paralyze your will to keep pushing forward.
So how do you build that kind of willpower? Well, Hill says you don't do it alone. You have to form what he calls a mastermind. The idea is pretty simple. No one person knows everything they need to know to become wildly successful. But when you team up with other people in a spirit of harmony, you create this kind of third mind, a creative force that's way more powerful than any one person.
And this brings us to the final battleground. Because after all the planning, all the desire, all the persistence, the last and greatest enemy isn't out there in the world. It's inside our own heads. Hill identifies what he calls the 6 basic fears that haunt all of us. He calls them ghosts, and he says these are the true killers of our dreams. They paralyze our ability to think, they crush our imagination, and they destroy our self-confidence before we even get out of the starting gate. So, after all of this, what is the secret? It's not just one thing, it's the whole process. The secret is that you can take a burning desire, use autosuggestion to plant it deep in your subconscious mind until it becomes faith, and then, by combining that faith with a definite plan and relentless persistence, you can actually transform that thought into its physical reality. The mastermind and conquering your fears, that's the fuel and the armor you need to make it to the finish line. That's the formula. In the end, Hill's entire philosophy really comes down to this single empowering idea. The real power isn't in your circumstances or your luck. The power is in your thoughts, and you, and only you, have absolute control over them. So the real question isn't from him, it's for you. What are you going to choose to build?